What is going on YouTube? This is Acid Root. So I'm going to review the second EP by Evanescence. Basically this product is called Sound Asleep and it came out in the summer of 1999. So the thing about this particular product here is basically Evanescence had come on the scene in like the mid-late 90s, or basically Evanescence had came on the scene in like the late 90s first as first happened. They had a particular hit EP in 1998 that was pretty viciously appealing within the aspect of it. Definitely had some treats on there within the particular tone. It's just kind of the factoid that both of these EPs, these two and then the Mystery EP, which doesn't really have that much new content on there or really much of anything, it's just the same songs that are just outtakes or just maybe like minor differences from the Fallen EP. It's about the same draw as the Fallen EP as far as those first, it's about the same draw as the Fallen album as far as what's first going to happen. But this particular product has some minor kind of new stuff on here, has some repeat songs from either Evanescence from 1998 or Origin from 2000 as far as what's first going to happen. But it's just within the pitch as far as saying it's an excellent aspect to get this product here is once again these early Evanescence products are just harrowingly vicious and a lot more demonic and just more lethargic and just languid compared to a lot of the stuff that went on in Fallen. They definitely, I feel like the Fallen album definitely had like some sort of gothic commercial kind of appeal that just had like an aesthetic that was more radio ready and pitched like that. Definitely pretty morose type album Fallen was. Same thing with the Open Door, but I look within the pitch as far as saying that these particular aspects here had a lot more harrowingness and just way more kind of just way more kind of harrowing in a sense. The main aspect that's unfortunate about this product, now normally the impact of this product, me recommending 5 out of 6 songs off this EP here, it probably should get like a 9.75, 9.5, 10 almost within the pitch behind it. I look within the pitch, the only real song I don't recommend on here is just an instrumental, but the thing about this EP is there is not terribly that much new. So 2 of which the songs, Understanding is on here twice, one of which is either, I forget which particular, there's 2 versions of the song Understanding, one of which is a new one that's exclusive to this product, and the other one, which is the 7 minutes and 20 seconds one, is either on Evanescence from 1998 or it's on Origin, one of those type ones within the pitch behind. So that's a repeat song. And then like Whisper, I want to say was on Origin, so and later Evanescence album. So it's just within the pitch as far as saying, but I do feel like it's a good aspect getting like the particular tones of just seeing like the early primer type things of what Evanescence would become. Once again, very harrowing for 1999. The impact behind this had a lot more appeal within the aspect of just the aesthetic that it particularly had. It's just the real consistency of being able to say that it seemed pretty ahead of the times for the pitch of what was going on in 1999. There just weren't things like this around this time. This is definitely, they had their own soundscape, and it just is easier to see that with these particular early projects more so than Fallen or some of those type ones. Particularly, they were not really that new metal within the pitch. It's not to say there's anything, it's not it's not to have problems with the Fallen album and like Anywhere But Home, some of those type pitches, but I look after within the tone that not really, like emo was kind of not as full bound kind of a thing in like 98, 99 within the pitch. They're kind of one of those type ones that kicked off within certain senses the kind of Hot Topic, Spencer's type movement within some of those type pitches. So the way that particular fair, it makes me question what Amy Lee was like back in 97, 98 just within the pitch, because you just pay attention to it. There's not terribly many folk when you think of like more pop mistress when you think of more pop and rock type mistresses around this time, like Mariah Carey, Gwen Stefani, and like some other type ones, trying to think some other pop or rock type ones, like can't really think it's full bound of too many, but Mariah Carey, Gwen Stefani, Courtney Love, folks like this, particular starlets like this didn't have that particular type of appeal, just like the gothic touch on. So it's a very shrewd and just overall shrill type aspect of just having like the initial kind of scream queens. That was a pretty big craze throughout the 2000s. Amy Lee definitely had character, the band definitely had character. They were just doing things that were pretty much not around in 1998, 99, pitches like that. So it's a good type of appeal, good festering type movement that blew up pretty good, and then they got some multi-platinum albums in the 2000s. But in the pitch, the only song I don't recommend off this 6-song EP here is just Give Unto Me, which this one was just kind of a drift. Give Unto Me was just kind of like a lofty, kind of floaty type production on here. This one, I feel like Ascension of the Spirit just nailed that particular vibe. I do like the 2 instrumental songs on here as far as what's going to happen, but it's just the pitch as far as being able to say that this one just kind of feels more like almost like video game kind of loading music, something like that. Just when you have like those loading screens, some of those particular type of appeals, it's kind of in between type moments that just kind of within a spirit type aspect behind it. Within a certain tone, it would have almost a decent aspect, but just not as affable within the full bound pitch behind it. Maybe that could be one I would catch on to later within the pitch behind it, but just within the tone, just it's not as full bound with the pitch of it. But I look after here, so the pitch behind this product is the fact that, yeah, I do recommend 5 out of 6 of these songs. Like I said, the only one I don't recommend is Give Unto Me, but I look after here just being able to say that the tone behind it, with 2 of these being repeat songs, both Whisper and the 7-minute Understanding song, are on other Evanescence projects. I look after here being able to say that really narrows it down to 3 out of 6. In terms of new songs that have like the aspect of wanting to pick up this product. Now the thing, when I say pick up this product, the thing about it here is there were really only supposedly 50 copies of this particular EP that were made, so it's just been pitched as far as saying this is a pretty rare item, probably pretty expensive within the aspect behind it. Just not much manufactured. It doesn't look like the band Evanescence really wants to redistribute and remanufacture this product, which is vastly unfortunate, but it's just been pitched. I mean, you're really forking over like within the concept of it for the 3 songs that are on here, which are good songs within the pitch, but it's this kind of concept as far as saying that that's pretty, it's light unlike the actual content. I mean, it is an EP, but it's just within the pitch that the sheer kind of stuff that's just pretty much just only exclusive to this product is relatively kind of slim. But I look after it, and one of which is the same song as one of which, so it's just kind of pitch that you're really only getting the new song Forgive Me and then Ascension in the Spirit, which is an instrumental. So because this music is quality, because I do like both the Almost songs, Whisper and the 7-minute Understanding, those are 2 good songs despite the fact they're found elsewhere. Ascension in Spirit is a good instrumental. I like the cleverness of that particular song. And then the new Understanding and Forgive Me are good ones. I'm going to give this EP like an 8 out of 10. I would look within the impact. I don't want to give it like a bad score because the quality is on here. It's just the fact there's not enough real packaging. I like new stuff. It's just kind of more of like a mild kind of compilation of just like products that you're getting within the tone of dislike. It's almost kind of like an Evanescence kind of variety pack within the pitch behind, but it is good. It's just the concept. I do like this hauntedness, very much a heroin type product. The stuff that is on here that's good really has the impact of just something that's some of their darkest and just overall more swirling than what's particularly been done with them. Pretty similar to like Origin, which was pretty vicious, and pretty similar to like I would say Evanescence from 1998. They really had some just harrowingness kind of in like a summer aspect and just more broodingness within the pitch. So it's the same moodiness just in the pitch as far as saying, but it's just light on like new stuff. So 8 out of 10, 8 out of 10 score in terms of that. But so the new Understanding is like a harrowing kind of day drifting, I'd have to say here, just a sunny kind of gothic baking, I'd say within the aspect of it, just kind of more goth type aspects in the daytime within pitches like that, just kind of hot aspects of just like the kind of just hot aspects of just like more turmoil pitches like that. It's like some mild kind of post-grunge kind of livid outs within pitch behind. So just particular, just commerce within fair, just the sort of formats that Evanescence would perfect later, but it's just interesting that that particular, the later Evanescence products from the 2000s had more winter and autumn type embrace within pitch, but this is actually some good type product, just something that you hear Amy Lee and the band on in like June and maybe hot Aprils and July and pitches like that, just within the formats of it, just kind of pitch as far as saying just kind of this mild summer baking weather within the pitch, but just in a gothic aspect. So it just has a particular tone. Once again, there's some original type factors that get this here. There were not many songs within this music type pitch behind it, at least in terms of like something that could have been radio ready within the aspect. This is kind of ahead of the times for the pitch behind, so good type tone for some of that type of appeal. This really has the aspect. Good radio grabs here. Understanding is a nice one. It has some good kind of commercial type appeal within. I mean, it's pretty banner within the sense of just being able to get towards it. Uncommon song, uncommon song here, kind of a rare grab, but good type pitch to kind of see what they were up to back in those days. Forgive Me is a nice one as well, and this is a real surprise. This is a real apple type one as well. This is typical kind of moody fashion for Evanescence as far as these fairs gonna happen. It's like a rainy kind of radio grab, I'd say. Good breakthrough, makeshift push, kind of get with the aspect here. It's something that you would have gotten from like songs off of Fallen, like when you think of songs like Hello or like My Immortal, some of those type ones, but just a little bit, not quite as much like as not as much like morosely demonic within that pitch, like the somberness, but just kind of aspect of this like a typical kind of rainy piano kind of ballad that you would get for like a Tuesday push when you're going to have like a good cry in the car or something like that. Just the aspect of like that typical kind of drear, just pushing along pitches like that. It's like some vintage kind of moody alternative within the pitch as far as those first halves. So just the aspect as far as being able to say that there, this good aspect of just like typical kind of drear within the pitch like that slog kind of day and just overcast weather as far as this pitch can have. So a good aspect there. Good 1-2 punch for some of these. Then Ascension of the Spirit's a nice one. So this is just an instrumental, but it is nice appeal. It is nice appeal. So it's like a leery and haunting kind of gothic embrace kind of get here. Just dark appeal from the band. I would definitely say it's pretty lit type one. So it's just the aspect as far as saying it's kind of the commerce of just like the real kind of like lifted and just kind of morose type aspect of just real demonic with an after effect of like very Grim Reaper-esque within some of that particular type tone. Really like the pitch as far as just being able to say like the haunting just overall. It's like the haunting overall type aspect of just like how morose it particularly kind of gets. So it's just the tone. This is particularly different. Like this sort of aspect, I do feel like the concept of just like after that. I do feel like the concept of like after effects and just overall the leeriness of particularly what goes along with like later Evanescence is good, but this some of these type ones just really had the particular tone for their initial products doing this particular type of stuff was pretty interesting just in the pitch. For their initial products having this particular hauntiness and just nailing the appeal, being able to do it, this was pretty different from a lot of the particular stuff that was going on around the time. So it's just like I was saying, it just has that particular this sharpness factor that just really has like a this bite about it. This real aspect. This is, you know, like I was saying, this has some particular kind of haunting aesthetic that's just pretty original within the factor of it. Just does a lot of damage within the pitch and just has a lot of appeal for like the particular aspect of what it does. So just the originality factor is real high. It nails the aspect of just having something gripping and just the overall context of just having like a good instrumental that just has the appeal of just bringing like emo and kind of alternative and moody kind of more gothic type culture to like mainstream pitches like this. It just nails the appeal. Just nails that particular aspect. Just has a good sound. It has like a good kind of haunting pleasingness about it. So it's a good aspect there. So it's just one pitch as far as saying, but yeah, this particular EP gets an 8 out of 10. It would get a higher score if there was more songs on here and more within the aspect of just more content to kind of offer within the pitch bond. That's the only real reason why it's not getting a higher score, because normally 5 out of 6 would probably be like at least a 9.25, 9.5, 9.75, somewhere in there. But that's just the pitch as far as saying this aspect as far as being able to get towards a whisper is like a pretty good turn up song. It is on Origin and possibly fall in some of those type pitches. It's kind of the tone of getting to like that vicious kind of turn up that just feels maybe not so much like rave type music within the full bound aspect, but just something of like a relative dance type noise within the gothic type sense. It's another good aspect there, just getting to towards some of those type moments for like some commotion. The songs that are new on this project have a little bit more heroin, just kind of makeshift type push, but there are moments by Evanescence where they do have the recreational type fare, so it's good for that. But Whisper's the only taste of that, but that is a repeat song. Then Understanding from 98 is just the same type pitch. And then Understanding from 1998 just has a good type pitch, just a typical kind of ballad dredge with an aspect of it, just a real dark and kind of malaise type fare that just has the aspect of like that heroiness that's just typical of it, but it just is pretty good stretcher within the aspect, just kind of that haunting type stuff that they were known for on like the Fallen Out and pitches like that. It's a good type of appeal, but I look after it, so 8 out of 10 score. The social score probably more or less, I'd probably give the social score like maybe like an 8 as well, either like an 8 or an 8.25. I look within pitch, I'd probably say within the aspect of it, because it does have some bite about it within the pitch. I'd probably give it like an 8.25, because I look after here just being able to say that the radio grabs are pretty good on here. It's just the aspect of the typical kind of popularity. It's just some uncommon kind of Evanescence songs, so for folks that know this band pretty damn well, it's a good type pitch to pick up these songs if it's not within a hefty kind of price within the pitch behind it, considering that there are only supposedly 50 copies of this particular product and they have sold in the millions. They've went 7-8 tons platinum, some of those type pitches, so it's just in the tone. Obviously those remaining copies of this particular product are pretty rare, but it's just within the pitch of the songs on here. I do feel like at least Understanding and Forgive Me are some nice ones, and if you can track down Whisper, other type pitches, just some of the good formats that they do have some good songs in here. So it has the aspect of like some relative radio grabs, Ascension of the Spirit. Maybe that one's not as much social, and it's the same thing with, but maybe Give Unto Me would be like a relative social one, just like some moments where you go and grab a drink out of the fridge, something like that, and the PlayStation's on, or movies are getting ready to be watched, pizzas in the oven, some of those type pitches within the tone bomb. But I look after good type fare. So in terms of the future, like the most recent Evanescence album that came out was in 2021. I reviewed that one recently, like back in November 2024. So I've reviewed every Evanescence project now. This is the last one. You can see all these in the playlist. I definitely recommend checking out the playlist as far as what's going to happen. I will get to future Evanescence projects as they start to come out. Supposedly they were working on some stuff. They have put out like a song on like the Devil May Cry. Like there's some sort of Devil May Cry video game show that's been going on, pitches like that. So they do have some songs within that particular type stuff. If they do some songs for like a soundtrack soundtrack to some of that particular television show, I'll definitely review that project as well. If they get like some bonus type stuff going along with like a movie soundtrack or something like that, I'll definitely get to it. But yeah, as a whole, I've reviewed everything by Evanescence. Most of their projects have been pretty classic within the pitch, not to say most, in terms like there are ones that are wimpy or something like that, or whimpering, but I just look within the tone. This particular project only got an 8 because there's just not enough kind of new stuff on here in terms of the pitch, and just more impact that warrants like paying the hefty price tag. But most of these projects by Evanescence, like I want to say I gave Origin a 10, Fallen's pretty much like a classic, Open Doors real haunting, Evanescence from 2011 is pretty spry and just overall has the aspect like some move arounds that are just pretty good within like rave type appeal. Synthesis has some, I mean that was probably one that I didn't full bound as much give a high score, but still had some good stuff. Real original idea, pitches like that. There just were some ones on there, and then I did like the overall new aspects of trying to bring Gothic to mainstream with the Bitter Truth. So it's just within the pitch as far as things. I have a lot of these EPs are worth tracking down. There's just some good aspects here. Anywhere But Home's like a good, nice, live type project. So there's just some good nicenesses for some of those type of appeals. So just to say, covered everything by Evanescence. Definitely check out the play as far as this first going to happen. We'll get to some more of these as they start to run along.